Look, oh man, my voice. All right, it looks like I should be live. Hopefully, we are. Let me know if you can start seeing things. Man, I haven't done this in what feels like forever. So I believe my audio is working. It looks like my screen is up. So, as I always do, the plan's going to be to start with some market kind of general thoughts and updates, and then I will run through some tickers I have in my head, and then obviously, if there's anything that you are looking to have me cover, just throw them in the chat. All right. So, nice. Let's get into this. So, look. I think before I even get into the technicals, couple things to just look at. So next FOMC meeting is in 9 days, so just a little more than a week from now. All right. So um, obviously it's. I think let me scroll down and say a couple thoughts. So I think what I like, and again, I always talk about this site. It's completely free. I am not logged in at all at the moment. I've never given them any of my information at all. Right. So what I like at the minimum is there's no hike expected right now. So to me, that's real solid. All right. Obviously, if rates go up, people are going to get a lot more scared than they actually should be. Right. I think what I like is they're expecting the no change. That really is what Powell said on the last like FOMC meeting. You can see the percentage has basically been living in the high 90s or at even low 90s, but 90s regardless, right? For at least the last month, so not too much movement, right? Powell did just speak. I don't know if it was on Friday or it was on Thursday, but I know we were talking about it and there was links on the Discord. So Powell basically said the same thing that he said on that last FOMC meeting. Excuse me. It really was. We're still waiting. We're not in a rush. We're still gathering data. And in my head, all of that still at least makes me believe an ease will be coming, right? So as I go into the summer, you can see June is actually a pretty high easing percent right now, right? So I like that they are still thinking that. What does the May one look like? That's still way too uncertain and more likely of a no change, right? So hopefully, right, going into the FOMC, and again, remember, I'm not here pretending to be an economist, pretending to understand every word that Powell speaks. What I care about is come the 19th, right, which again is 9 days away from now. On the 19th, I really want this June ease number to go into the 90s. That's number one. I would love to see that happen. And hey, I would love the next one, the May, to actually start becoming a little more 50-50 than a third of a percent, right? So I think what Powell does in the next 9 days is going to be really important because look, I'm not liking what the market is looking like, all right? And I'm about to get into the market thoughts. I think before I do that, this is a real important thing. And hey, you hear me say it all the time. I just want to visually show it. So this was, I think, yesterday. Today's the 7th. Today's the 9th. My goodness, you can see how time is. A couple days ago, someone really disagreed with me, right? I'm worried that bad things are happening. This chart right here, hey, I'll be real honest with you. I didn't look up the source of this thing or anything like that, right? But this thing actually says, hey, we've been here before. We definitely had some good love when Trump was in office the first time. We definitely saw some fears when Trump did the tariffs before, because again, he's done this before. And then all of a sudden we rallied, and even on that drop, we were still better than we were, and lo and behold, we continue, right? So this thing makes people say, hey, it's not as bad as I'm about to say it is, right? And believe me, if you disagree with me, please let me know, all right? But let's talk market a little bit, okay? And I'm going to start with the immediate comment, which really is, hey, tomorrow, Monday must bounce. All right, Monday must get over 18,500. I don't even need to draw the line right there. Because if we can get to there, we're going to be over the 200. And again, I don't know the math behind these lines, right? But as we keep going down, the eight's going to keep coming down. That's probably going to meet exactly right there at like 18,400, right? So 18,400 is that exact number on NASDAQ, but really I'm trying to get to 18.5, let alone the golden line, right? And obviously, if you're looking at QQQ, it's the exact same thing, just slightly different numbers, right? I need to get over that 200 moving average. It looks like the 8 moving average is probably going to meet around that 5, like 495, whatever. We want to get to 500, give or take, right? So I don't want to just be at the 200. I got to be well over it, right? But hey, we're under all of them right now, right? Clearly no confirmation that we lost the 200. I'm not here getting too worried yet. And like I said, what I'm actually hunting for, and I think it's just a little prettier on the actual NASDAQ chart, what I'm hunting for is going from basically 18.4, 18.5 all the way up to basically 19.2. I've been roughly estimating 19 flat because you can see the 20s coming down, right? So I don't know if we'll get over the 20. If we do, maybe we can get to the 100 right there, right? And look, green, 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 red, 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 green, green, green. I'll just draw the line so it's even easier to see and I'll delete it, right? Boom, 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 nothing, 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 red, red. That could be a real nice green, green, green if we can make that path up there, right? And I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but if we make this move, that should bring real good to tech immediately. You know what I mean? So it seems that we're seeing a lot of red. Okay. Yes, but I think the problem right now has been, and this is what I'm about to get into, I don't know if I believe that tariff Trump 2 is the same as 1. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of red. And I don't think things are oversold just yet. I'm kind of reading the comments as I'm saying these words, right? I think we'll get the Monday bounce, like I said, because of the technicals. But look, as I zoom out, all right, and again, remember, the daily moves 5 times quicker than the weekly, right? I get 5 charts for 5 candles for every single one I get on the weekly. You can see the moment where that 8 and the 20 start to dip, and like you can maybe say it's a little more right here because we're kind of near the 8 and the 50, a little closer, right? But I haven't seen it just yet because it hasn't happened yet. But I don't know if we're about to death cross the 20 or not. Because I remember saying this not that long ago. Was it the monthly chart? I think it was the monthly chart. And again, I'm zooming out more, and you know my game is short term more than long term, right? But the last time we dipped under the 8 moving average, the last time we dipped under that green line was a single moment back in 2023. Right? You can maybe say like 2024, about a year-ish ago, right? But hey, it's been a bit. And hey, I don't want to overreact just yet. This is still this current month's candle, right? So the last one was a doji. I don't know where this, for all I know, it's going to close up here, right? We still have so much time between here and the end of the month. Like this is still a live candle, right? But the way things are kind of shaping up, I don't know if it's going to be a little bit scarier than this or not, right? And I think that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking out a little more at the weekly and the monthly. And again, look at this view, right? We actually haven't slipped under that 50. It's a little hard to see because I've got all these lines and I probably should delete them at some point, right? But like that red line right there, we actually never fell under it. We actually never even touch it. We're close right there. We're close right there. We've wicked it so far for sure. Again, I don't know where we're going to close, right? Next week is going to be really important. Are we going to come down here, or are we at least going to bounce up again like we're hoping for, right? This 50 moving average makes me believe a little bit more that this daily chart bounce could happen, right? There's no guarantee we're going to get over that 200. There is a good amount of distance between down here and right there, right? And we've seen so many times where things just try to and struggle. And hey, if we keep going down and we death cross the 8, it'll be that much harder, right? But 50 is a strong line. 200 is a strong line. Hopefully both of those can kind of come and we get that one good little week right there, right? I think a lot of that is echoed with the S&P 500. S&P 500 is at the 200. S&P 500 is a little bit above it, but basically near the 50. I'm hoping to see that same bounce from down here to hopefully up there. Hey, even from down here to here might make some tickers a little bit happy, right? Obviously that 8's going to keep coming down, right? But I would love to get over 5,830, right? Rough numbers. Take me all the way up to like 595, right? And again, SPX, exact same words, just, what happened? SPY, duh. SPY, exact same words, just move the decimal, right? So I think the bounce is there. I think, and I'll tell you this is 100% old chart reader dude before I would ever go on, like, I would let a weak recovery get me really excited, and then I'd feel the effects if it didn't sustain. All right. And look, believe me, if you've been watching me long enough, you know no one roots for up more than me. I don't do options, right? So I'm not really putting things, but what's also another view of it is the inverse. So SQQQ, the short of QQQ, is coming to the 200. And look, I know I'm looking post-market. It's all the same thing kind of when you're looking at the indices, right? So this is either going to break the 200 and fly, or this is going to reject and come back down, right? And I've been saying, look at the inverses. I've been enjoying making little baby percentages while most people are losing double digits or more, right? And back to the comment in the chat right now, I don't think things are oversold just yet, unless, and this is the real unless, because you can see it here too. If this never breaks the 50 and it does come back down, and hey, again, this will come back down. Market always recovers and wins, right? If this breaks the 50, if NASDAQ, if QQQ loses the 50 on the weekly, oh, this ain't oversold. This is just the beginning, right? And again, I'm not here talking fears and stuff, right? But that's what you just got to put in. And one more time, I'm just going to end the indice views right here. There are people that disagree with everything I just said. This view right here says we've been here before. We've seen this fear before. We rally quick. We actually fold a little bit after the rally, but ultimately we hold and go. Maybe we're going to see the same little rally, because that is what I've been saying. That's what the charts are saying, right? I don't know. Really, it's twofold. Number one, I don't actually know that this is going to happen, right? On Monday, for all I know, this thing keeps going down. That bounce thing never happens. We never get over those lines, right? I think the other part's going to be what happens after the weak recovery that I'm looking at, if it hits. Are we going to come down and hold? Maybe we hold longer, but are we going to hold? Or are we not, right? Because we've seen it so many times. That same red, green could be a bad red down, right? So disagree with me. Throw it in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, right? But hey, I'm not here to talk politics in this, but I saw a headline that Trump might actually increase the tariffs more. There's things going on. It looks like there's a new president about to come into Canada. I thought Trudeau was actually gone a while ago too. But again, I don't know politics, right? But there are some world things happening. There are tariff things happening. It's a lot of uncertainty. And just like I'm afraid of earnings, because I never know what the guy or the girl is going to say when they stand on the microphone, the market doesn't like this world uncertainty that we're at. And really, I think Powell has been saying it good. I'm a fan of Powell. I am. I think he's an easy dude to bash, but we're just waiting for the data. Once everyone can, like, once it's easy, kind of like I do on these charts and these videos, right? I'm guessing what tomorrow is going to be on every single video, but hey, I'm using some past data that's done me pretty well that makes me think I can predict tomorrow, right? We can't do that just yet. There will 1000% be a point where we can. I'll be real honest with you. I think it's going to be somewhere in this. I do. I think it's going to be no lower than the 50 moving average. I do not think we're losing all the moving averages on the monthly. I do not. All right. You can see the blue line on the monthly kind of lines up with the last moving average on the weekly. I'm kind of believing we might, and again, I'm not a long-term dude. There is for sure a really strong line like right there, right? Horizontal, kind of the top and the bottom of that, but like there's a strong line right here. That's a really strong line. I think we're going to come down close to 400. And I think around there, we'll have like 3 months of data. I don't know how long it's going to take, right? But I said it when weed legalized in Germany. I care less about the day it legalized and more the 3 months, 6 months after. What did the tax revenue look like compared to what Germany was expecting? What did the crime rate look like compared to what all the protesters were? You know what I mean? Like, you gotta see what expectations and numbers do, and I think that's what we're waiting for. Otherwise, hey, that 50 is a strong line. We've bounced, we've bounced, we've bounced. And this chart again says we bounce, we hold, and we keep going, right? So let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Let's start jumping into some tickers, all right? So I'll do AI first. I'll go into a couple other ones. Let me know if there's any tickers that I'm missing, right? So look, I think Palantir right now, if everything that I'm about to say on these tech tickers especially is going to be if NASDAQ does well, all right? If NASDAQ does well, I think we'll get over the 50. I would basically wait for like 88 bucks, maybe 88.50 even. Why not, right? Even 89 ain't that bad. Hopefully we ride to about 100. And hey, believe me when I say this, I always expect a little random ticker to do better than the NASDAQ, right? So if NASDAQ can push a couple 1%, 1%, 1%, 1% days, oh man, this thing can go, 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 right? And like I said, 15% in my eyes isn't that, wild a number. I'm basically adding 15 bucks here to take me to that 100. That's roughly speaking the 16, 17 it would be for 20%, right? So I think this falls into that 15% gap window that I'm looking for. And again, gap fill, red, red, red could be a pretty easy green, green, green up to that, right? If NASDAQ does not do well, we're coming down to 73. And for real, I don't know what happens then, right? Palantir is probably going to be one of the more established and for real PayPal mafia, right? Like this is a real ticker. And this can for sure do poorly if NASDAQ doesn't do well, or this thing will crush it if it does, right? When we look at, oops, what is this? This is a bad ticker. Sometimes pudgy fingers bring real good charts. You never know. That's why I pause when I do a typo. What are we looking for on SoundHound? So look, this one's a little bit tighter, but I would be basically looking for 1010, 1011. If we can break that, maybe we'll be talking 1150. That's basically exactly the 11%, right? My scroll went up a little bit. Maybe we'll try to kiss this 100 moving average around just under 12, right? Maybe we'll even squeeze up just a little bit more to this, right? I think it might be aggressive to think that right there. But again, when NASDAQ's good, SoundHound knows how to get volume and knows how to do good things, right? So maybe there's even a chance that this will kiss the 50, right? But again, that's basically what I'm looking for. Otherwise, like I said on the other one, we would lose 820. Maybe 810 is probably basically 790 is not bad. Basically $8 is the death line. If you lose 8 on SoundHound, man, that could be real scary. And that's a pretty hard red to roughly there at 660 if that falls down, right? So I agree. Powell did say economy's in good shape. I agree with that. And I think that's a lot of reason why, even on this upcoming one, there's very little hike. No one's really worried that the economy is too bad. I think the worry is what's going on. How's whatever country going to retaliate? Are whatever these countries going to go to war? Are these whatever countries about to fight because they're on different sides of the line? And there's so many different unknowns, right? My worry is the unknown around us, not the economy. And I think that's a lot of why I don't think we're losing all the moving averages on those further out, time frames. You know what I mean? So, yes. Yo, BBAI just had some rough earnings, all right? And I always say it, earnings are wildly crazy. They really, really are. I've seen good earnings, and again, I'm an educated dude, right? I know how to read things. We have a really easy, beautiful little room where you just get very, very simple, either red dots, green dots, sprinkle of yellow, right? And I know all green is real good, right? It's easy to be an educated person and say this wasn't bad earnings, right? I've seen good earnings bring bad things. I've seen bad earnings bring good candles. It's crazy, right? This was rough. this was a bad earnings reaction, and truth be told, I don't know if a good NASDAQ will save BBAI. All right. I think the one problem with earnings always is, and you hear me say it all the time, you either ride the wave up or you avoid the avalanche down. And I don't know if we're about to avalanche a little bit. And I use that word lightly, right? There was someone on the Discord that talked about getting in BBAI around 2 something, right? So if the avalanche even takes us to 2 something, hey, whatever. No one's even, not even in the red, right? So that word is used loosely, right? But as I look at the weekly, there's only 2 moving averages left, and they're basically right here. As I look at the daily, there's only 1 moving average left, and it's basically at the same place, right? So there is a crazy amount of pressure on 230, 220, give or take, for BBAI. Because from there, I would hate to lose all the moving averages on the daily and on the weekly at the same time, right? So let's call it about $2, maybe 210, because that'll be the point on the daily and the weekly, right? But that's still a really high RSI in the 50s. It actually, well, I guess that was a while ago. That was in the, what was this one? This was an 18. 18 ain't that low. I mean, is that's low, right? And then even this one right here is in the 30. Like, even if this goes from 50 to 30, there's room for it to come down. Hopefully that holds and we never really go below 220, right? So but BBAI, to me, the worry becomes that earnings reaction, even if NASDAQ does the bounce that we're looking for. Oh, man, that could be a little rough right there, right? What else? I haven't looked at AI in a while, C3 AI. Hey, this is, wow, I'm glad I came to this one. Oh, I like this one. What's this 23 line? Let me lower that a little bit. We don't need to be up there. We'll take that right there. I love it. That's even closer to the 8. Hey, if this breaks, I'm going to set, look, an alert is not an immediate buy notification. Oh, my wife's here. Let me close the door real quick. Hold on, sorry. An alert is not an immediate, oh, it's on the line? Yeah, whatever, that's fine. Hey, if we go above 23 something, let's call it 2320-ish, right? Because again, I don't know the math, but that 8 moving average is coming down, and it probably will come around 2270, if I had to guess, maybe 2280, right? So 23 in the teens ain't that bad. We break that. That's not a bad ride all the way up to maybe even 28, right? Let's say that comes, let's say 27. Right? So you're adding basically $5. That's about a 20% move right there. And what I would really be looking for, right, is a stock that looks like the gap fill that NASDAQ's going to try to do. Clearly, if NASDAQ fails, we're never going to get over that line. We're going to just keep going down, down, down like this thing is doing, right? But hey, I would love to make a quick little ride up. Maybe there's a chance at 29 if we can try to kiss that 200. But again, from there, we'll see how the week goes by, right? So I'll do Guard Force as the last one in the AI sector. I'll move to a couple other ones, and then hey, throw them in the chat if there's any tickers you want me to look at. So Guard Force is an interesting one right here. Again, I see a nice little channel from, let's call it 120. I think 115 even ain't that bad. From 115 all the way up to 130. That at least is a 10% right there. It's not quite the 15-ish, but that's not bad right there, right? You can take this thing 30 cents up maybe at the most, and that'll actually give you a 20% right there, right? So Guard Force doesn't look that bad. What does bother me, I'm going to zoom in, so just get rid of that. Man, volume's been really rough here, right? But again, if NASDAQ looks good, I think tech in general will look good. And in my opinion, the better channels will probably just naturally get a little more love, right? So I'm going to call that the AI sector right there. I will look at, let's look at the quant sector, right? Let's do that one next. So let's take a look at Rigotti. Hey, this is nice actually. I think I like this a little bit more than those AI stocks that I was looking at, because this is actually kind of arguably starting the bounce, right? We just used the 100 moving average really well. We actually got over, and some might argue confirm that we got over the 8 moving average right there. I don't know if I'm going to call this confirmation, because really, I'm going to call this candle the one that broke both of them. Obviously, we never lost it, right? But That holds. That does not confirm. That's a little random doji. This bounces, gets over, and that's not quite good enough for that. But nonetheless, I see an already attempt. And if you sprinkle on a little bit of NASDAQ too, I would love to take this to 1020 and then hopefully from there 1215. All right. And hey, going from 9 to 12 is actually a very nice percentage right there, right? 369, add another 3 to that. That's real pretty right there. Keep Rigotti in your back pocket. It looks like the RSI is also just trying just a little bit, and the MACD isn't too far off from the 0, and maybe a little baby divergy there, but hey, Rigotti is actually pretty solid right there, and let's see what the rest of them love. Let me go to the weekly on Rigotti just to do it real quick. Yeah, it's not bad. So look, this thing's basically saying we hopefully we'll go up to 1118, and then the daily says there's a little bit sprinkle of more. Obviously, if NASDAQ fails, we're going to lose 830, right? So hopefully that's not the case by any means. And yeah, 830 is basically where that 8 is. Yeah, hopefully that's not what we're worrying for, right? So yeah, Rigotti, solid. Keep that one in your back pocket. IONQ, what do you look like? Oh man, IONQ, you look rough. Wow. Okay, looks like earnings just happened. It looks like earnings was on the 26th. Let me know if that's accurate or not. So what I see is the same chart as Rigotti. On this day right here, right? Rigotti and IONQ were at the 100 moving average with a doji waiting for their respected earnings to come, right? IONQ on that 28th right there, 26th, whatever, you get it, right? That's where the doji went the wrong way. No, right? So it looks like earnings was rough. I think I have to echo the same thing I just said on BBAI. I think the one thing, and I'm going to flash it real quick before I say what I'm going to say. Okay, I almost have to, okay, let me just say the words and let's say, okay. There's a decent chance because really, again, it happens all the time. You go away from the 8, you come to the 8. You go away from the 8, you come to the 8. We've gone away from the 8 for a while. Maybe there's just like a NASDAQ, maybe that will come, well, that's going to come down a little bit, right? But maybe we'll add $2. Maybe there's a 10%, maybe there's a 10% window from this 20-ish to 22. If it broke 22, like let's even call it 23. If we can get over that doji right there, basically 23, I think that would be interesting because there's a lot of room all the way up, even if that 20 keeps coming down, right? So I would actually like IONQ over 23 more than I would like it right now. I definitely like Rigotti more. I can say that right there, right? QBTS, let's look at QBTS. Okay, it's a little tighter. I think there were some better ones even in the AI sector right there, right? But if this can get over 660, I would actually really like it. I would, because then we're over the moving averages and then it's just so much green, red, nothing, right? I don't know if it's going to take the few days to get over that, and that's going to be the NASDAQ window, right? But if NASDAQ is able to continue during the week, and hey, by like Tuesday, Wednesday, we close right here. Maybe Thursday, Friday can bring a big push right there, actually. QUBT, let's take a look at this one. I am not liking this one, right? I think, again, kind of like I said with IONQ, maybe we've come to the 8, away from the 8, come to the 8, away from the 8. Not really been to it in a while. Maybe there's a chance to come up 50 cents. That's about 10% actually, right? But I think there's some better setups. I need water, excuse me. Okay, cool. Damn, how long have I been doing this for? 28 minutes, my goodness. Let's see. I will do some EV. What am I looking at? I'm looking at inverse tickers, right? So what I'm wondering, I will do MSTR in a second. Let me just do a couple inverse tickers, okay? And look, NASDAQ was not doing well. QQQ was not doing well. This does the exact opposite. This does not break all and fly. It really doesn't. And you can see it's been so long since we've actually gotten even over that 200 moving average, right? To me, the goal is make 2-3% while others are doing horribly, right? And others being tickers, right? If NASDAQ does well, I'm for sure hitting eject on this thing. We're going to watch it come back down probably to like 31. Because again, as that one might go up 15, this one will probably come down about 10%, right? I'm talking about losing about $3 on a 34 ticker, right? SDOW is for the NASDAQ. SH is for the S&P 500. Exact same chart, right? As those were doing bad, these are going up, right? If those reject, this will go, and if that one breaks, this will reject, right? And then SDOW is the other one right here, right? I've been saying Dow Jones is doing just a little bit better than the other two, and I think it's reflected here, right? So as things are looking bad, again, I don't do options, right? There's a burger place called In-N-Out. They have a very small menu. They're good at what they do. That's what I do, right? I'm not really trying to learn something new. I'm a little on the lazy side too, right? So I'm not doing options. I'm either moving my money to the side and waiting, or I'm looking at the inverses and hey, make a quick 3, make a quick 3, make a quick 3%, while others are losing 15, 20, 25. I'm seeing silly numbers, right? So inverse tickers, there are so many. There are literally 2x and 3x versions of these exact same things. And then when the market's good, you can get a 2x, 3x, I think super bullish tickers too, right? I normally don't do those. I like putting my money in tickers because I think that moves a little bit better, right? But man, there's so many ways to trade the market, right? So inverse tickers is this little section. Cool, we got 3 tickers here. Let's look at those 3. So MSTR is the first one. That sounds familiar. I think that's a real stock, right? MicroStrategy. Yo, I haven't looked at this one in so long. All right, where are we? Okay, I see a couple things. It looks like earnings happened here, right? I see something right here. That's my only hesitation, but I think this is wrong. I think that's actually the real one. So look, I think this is actually a nice stock to look for, just like we were talking about QBTS, right? I would even wait till here. I don't think that's going to hurt anything. 335, 336, 337. If we can get over that, and if we can do it in the first couple days of the week, and NASDAQ is able to do that recovery that we're looking for, oh, this one will do well. And this one should, I would guess, come maybe as high as, okay, let's start here. I would first say 388, and then I would say 412. And again, we're really just looking for 330, right? So even if we go to that 380 number, that's solid right there. All right, again, an alert is not an immediate buy notification, but yeah, let's check that one out. Let's do 339. Why not? Let's see. Again, check out NASDAQ. NASDAQ's going to need to do well for this, but again, I think the same thing I said with Rigotti, right? You can arguably say the bounce has already started here. And I think if that can translate and get echoed with the NASDAQ, oh, I love that so much right there, right? So what's the weekly look like? Again, 2 moving averages is not easy to break, right? On the daily, 2 moving averages is not easy to break, but that break does it on both the daily and the weekly. Boom, boom, boom. There we go, right? So MSTX, I don't know that one. MSTX. Oh, nice. All right, we're basically looking at the same thing, right? And this is literally what I just said about the inverse opposite, right? If you like MicroStrategy, if you like MSTR, if you are a lot extra bullish, there are 2x versions of it. And hey, if this does well, this 2x, like if this, let's just look at it right now, this day it loses 11.4%. That's what Friday was, right? When we look at MSTR, what did we lose? Half of it, right? So it is literally a 2x. Like I said, the inverses have that, the bullet, like that's how you play those 2 tickers right there, right? So MSOX is another one. I use that one on the weed stocks often, right? If you really like MSOS, buy yourself MSOX, do a 2x, right? And again, with risk comes reward, right? So there's so many ways, but the exact same thing I said, this one is a 2x long. This one is a bullish one, right? So if the words I just said happen, it will happen here, right? Where are we on CONL? I don't know this one either. This is another one. All right, cool. So, oh, I like this one, which also means I like coin. I like the long a little bit more, but hey, even this one's kind of the same thing. If we can go from like, let's call it 219. If we can go from like 219 all the way up to 235, that's about a 10% move right there. Maybe even if we can kiss that 240, that'll get us a little closer. And then hey, if that breaks if that breaks as well, we would be basically coming right there, right? With coin, I gotta look at Bitcoin, right? What does Bitcoin look like? Because I actually don't know. Oh, all right. All right. So far, we're trying to hold the 100. But hey, I'm seeing a little bit more of a struggle with the 8 and the 20 than I think this thing wants to see. And there's actually a death cross going on with the 50 and the 100. Again, things happen like that when they get really tight. So I'm not a fan when the tightness goes from up here to potentially a little bit lower, right? I'm not a fan when it goes from down here to up here either, but you can kind of make a little bit bullish statement out of that, right? But I would say this. Okay, no, that's a little aggressive. If Bitcoin can get over 90,000, I would like coin a lot more. I think getting to 90,000 might even make me believe that this 266 is realistic. And then on CONL, exact same things, right? But multiplied. I like this a little more because, hey, there is a nice little bit of room from down there to up here, right? Let's say that thing comes to like here on Monday, give or take, even call it 30, right? Going from 25 to 30 ain't that bad. You're actually adding a 20% move right there, right? So I might even have to set a quick little alert for that. Again, an alert is not an immediate buy notification, right? But going from 25 to 30 adds you 2 chunks of 520, a 250. That was dyslexic right there. And that's what 10% look like when you add them up, right? So solid right there. Any other tickers? What else? You know, we've been looking on the Discord at 2 of them. QMMM, all right? This is one. And then CCG. Okay, look, in a bad market, this is a nice chart to look at when you've got just so much red, so much hold. Hopefully you can go. This one didn't run as much as the other one, right? But you can see it's the same setup. For a lot of people, this is an interesting setup and maybe a cooler way to play instead of inverses, right? I've been busy. I'm not in front of my stuff as much as I was, and like it's harder for me to move my money. That's why I'm taking a little bit less risks and stuff. But hey, if you're a little more pro risk, I couldn't think of the word right there. There are some silly tickers, and in bad markets, silly tickers do really well. Again, when we started looking at it, it was probably closer to here. Maybe it was even on this first attempt, right? But more than anything, the RSI was closer to the 50s and then got up to the 80s. So this one might cool off a little bit, and we are actually at this peak, right? But if we continue, obviously we're going to go up there, right? With CCG, again, where we're looking at is it went from where were we? Oh, I don't even know where this one started. Nonetheless, this one's been a high RSI and it's kind of coming down. There's a good chance that this one kind of comes back, right? Keep an eye at this over 125, give or take. I think that could be an interesting place for CCG right there, right? But silly things do happen with silly tickers, and they happen more often in bad markets, actually. I got 2 more. Don't call me sir. We're all even here. Don't do that. I'm not calling you sir or madam, right? So no. Let's look at Irene. Oh, I'm familiar with Irene. I do know that one. I have flipped Irene. Oh, man. Let me go on the weekly. I know Irene well. Oh, yeah. Back in the day for sure. I don't know when. I know I flipped this ticker. Oh, this is an interesting one. I dig this one. Again, most of the time, I would say this is horrible. Look away. I already covered BBAI for sure. Go back. And that one, I did some good details on that one. I would normally say I'm not a fan here, but look, this is an old line. I promise you, I haven't looked at Irene in who knows how long. I'm going to assume this is a decent line because I like the lines that I draw. We're still riding the 8. We went away from it. We came to it. We went away from it. We came to it. We've gone away. We're right back to it. Give me a good NASDAQ. That's a nice little recovery from 8 to basically 10. Again, I got to set one more alert here. An alert by no means is an immediate buy notification. Man, look at that. Because even 8, you're already at the bottom of this one. That's even $7.99. What's your top right there? You're $7.99. What's your bottom there? I don't even want... Yeah, no, I think 805 ain't that bad. 806, let's do that. I like it. Again, not an immediate buy notification by 806. By no means is that the magic number. I'm just, kind of silly in my head with some of the things. You know what I mean? I dig Irene. I dig Irene, especially if NASDAQ, S&P 500, if both of those can recover. I see the word financial sector here, so I think maybe look at S&P 500 a little more. But again, it was the exact same thoughts for sure. You know what I mean? I'd much rather you call me bro than sir, that's for sure. TMF, I don't know that one. Oh man, look at this 3x right here. So I think the important thing when I look at this one is twofold. Number one, I know nothing about the treasury. I know nothing about the economy. So I don't know if I'm the best on like the behind this ticker thoughts. From there, look, if we can break, because I don't know the math, but I'm expecting the 8 to come down, right? Because this thing's coming down. If we can get back over, let's call it 44.50, maybe if you even want to wait till 45, that's not going to hurt. But if we can get over 45, 44, we're going to come up to 49. And that's not a bad 10% right there, right? MACD and RSI aren't that good, so I can't tell if we just tried to break the 100 and failed, right? I don't know. And again, I don't know if Powell's words are going to impact this thing at all, and we're 9 days away from that, right? So when I see 20-year treasury and like other more economic-y word things, I'm a little more hesitant, but at the minimum, either we're still trying and we haven't really lost because that's a bad candle, that's a doji, that's a bad candle, we haven't confirmed anything yet, right? Either we're still going to try to hold this 100, get me back over it and make me believe we're going to go up, or we're going to lose both and we're going to come to 41 and we better not lose 41, right? So cool, nice, that's that one. Damn, we're at 40 minutes. My wife hasn't knocked at the door, so I've got a few like I got time. I love doing this and I haven't done this in what feels like a week. So we looked at AI, we looked at quantum. Let's look at some EV stuff real quick. All right, so we're gonna start with Tesla. I know there's a lot of hate in Tesla, and I know a lot of like, I'm not here to talk about politics, right? That's not my game at all, right? And I know a lot of people are kind of blaming his connection to Trump. Look, end of the day, Tesla is a critical, look, remember the timing, all right? The peak was about this December, middle to late December, okay? And around here, around end of January, we lose the 8, the 20, and the 50. All right, I for real don't know if this isn't going to super connect. I'm assuming it does. Not as much as I expected. The peak was about here, that exact same 1216. To me, that does make sense. It's actually crazy to me that this held a lot longer. I think maybe there was a little more backlash and hate, but I don't know. That's interesting, actually. I'm super surprised it stayed up here as long as it did. I think and again, the one thing I knew was the NASDAQ was at the 200. I just saw that the Tesla was at 200, right? But I see the NASDAQ at the 200. I see Tesla at the 200. To me, it's the same, right? And if NASDAQ bounces, NASDAQ's going to get over the 8 and the 20, and it's either going to come to the 20 or the 100, or NASDAQ's not going to get over those and it's going to come right back down. It's the exact same words on Tesla, right? So to me, I'm for real surprised. I guess you can maybe argue it kind of holds a little bit. I think NASDAQ held a little more for a month and a half. That like 2.5-ish week drop, actually, I'm still a little taken, and I don't want to waste too many more of your seconds. But again, you can see it. I think Tesla exactly lines up with NASDAQ, and if that bounce happens, this is a look. I personally would probably wait for about 283. I think that wouldn't hurt because obviously the 8's going to be coming down, and hey, maybe for some they'll wait for like 270 and ride that to the 280. Hopefully give you a little cushion before you battle that, right? But yeah, if you're going to come in natural, I'd say 283, 284, and hey, hopefully we go up to like 310 even. That wouldn't be that bad. 306 is where that line is, right? Do I look at Nikola? Is Nikola still a ticker? It is. Oh, they went pink is what they did. Damn. Sorry, I took a second. I haven't looked at this ticker in a while. I see the after hours push just a little. Oh, it's fake. Okay, cool. When the blue lines are up here, I'm assuming it is, but that's just a bid. No one's actually buying that thing. If this can get over 19 cents, maybe there's a reason to believe that this thing can actually come to almost 35. Yo, that's not a bad percent move right there. I'm going to set an alert for 20. Just give me a flat 20. I'll be interested if that happens. Look, this is a pink chart. You can see volumes. It's actually not that bad. It's around 100K. Get me over the 8. I'll see how high we can go to the 20. There's obviously a lot of red behind it. Obviously, I'm going to want NASDAQ to do well. I think we're going to get a bounce this week. Yes. I don't know if you watched the beginning of or not, but I start with that in the beginning. I think the technicals are there. I don't know if the bounce is going to sustain, and I'll show it one more time. Chart. That's a nice chart. Oh, right here. Some people believe we're actually mimicking tariff 1. I don't know if we are. I'm disagreeing with me is a beautiful thing, right? I hope everyone does. That's why I say don't call me sir. I ain't some magical dude. You know what I mean? Maybe this is right. Maybe we're going to bounce, hold, and keep going. I think we're going to bounce. I don't know if it's going to be as high, obviously, right? But I think we're going to bounce. I just don't know if it's going to, there or there, right? Like there's so many different ways this could be different, right? But NASDAQ bouncing, that's why I'm kind of looking at a bunch of these tickers right now. Otherwise, this would be a 10-minute video and I'd say, look at all the inverses, right? Like that would be my, or silly tickers like QMMM and CCG, right? What's another EV? Let's look at Lucid, LCID. What does Lucid look like? Again, this doesn't look great. Oh, I hear my wife. Am I good? Do I have more time? I have more time. We're good. I normally would say I don't like this. We're actually at a death line I've drawn who knows how long. I don't even remember the last time I did it. I see earnings just happen, so I don't know if this is going to be a little bit BBAI thoughts, right? IONQ thoughts, but sometimes bad earnings are so unliked. And again, I don't know the details. I don't know if they were expecting a loss of minus 30 and we're only at minus 20. I don't know if we were expecting a loss of minus 2 and we're at minus 20, right? But sometimes, and especially when I see a gap down from here all the way to down there and it's under my death line, right? Sometimes that earnings reaction is so bad that it's a little hard to believe even a good NASDAQ will help. Otherwise, hey, if we can get over 220, maybe even arguably worth waiting till 230 breaks, get over that death line, there's nothing but green, nothing, red. We could make a move all the way up to 260-ish, right? That's not too bad, actually. That's about that's a 20% move right there, right? You're going 230 to 260. You're adding basically 40 cents. I'm rounding the numbers, but you get it, right? 15-ish still, right? So I like this little gap. It kind of matches that NASDAQ gap I'm looking for. How did I forget SOFI? Oh, man. I'll throw SOFI after this one. I'll do KULR as well. I normally do SOFI and KULR together. I'll look at Mullen real quick. Oh, man, Mullen. Goodness. Mullen's game is simple, and this is literally the perfect view for it. You go away from the 8, you come to the 8. You go away from the 8, you come to the 8. You go away from the 8, you come to the 8. Sometimes you'll kiss the 20. You go away from the 8, you come to the 8. We've gone away from the 8 for a while now. Maybe there's a chance we'll come right back up to it. And you can see that thing's at $1.50 and the 8's at 2 something. All right. It's hard to say what that enter number is because all I have is reds here, right? But I will say this. This is the most educated thing I can say down here. What's the volume line? We're looking for 2.5 million shares. You can see that's what the average 50 number is right there. Let me take out my little handy calculator. If I'm looking for 2.5, you're not going to see it because you're only seeing my screen. I'm doing 2.5 divided by 7, right? 2.5 million shares in a 7-hour day. We need 400,000 shares per hour. If the first hour of trading has more than that, keep your eyes on Mullen. If around 800, maybe even 1 million shares in those 2 hours hit, keep your eye on Mullen. Because again, We're down here, the 8's up here. This thing knows how to go away from the 8 and to the 8, away from the 8 and to the 8. Even if it's a silly little wick, I'm not telling you to hold, I'm not telling you to buy, sell, anything, right? Mullen, you don't hold, right? Like, but you can ride it to the 8, make some decent percentage right there, right? So let me know if there's another EV you want me to come back to. I want to go to SOFI. And then I'll do KULR after this. So look at this. I did not know that. So we are at the golden line right there. Golden line was roughly, and I remember that, it was roughly in between the 100 and the 200 as well. And it really is the last midpoint till that monster green, green, green. There's not too many crazy horizontals. That one right there is basically where the 200 moving average is, right? This is a must hold point right now. It really is. And again, I like the fact that it's lining up at the moment where I think NASDAQ might bounce, right? But if it does, I think there's a good chance that we'll come to 1330. I'm just guessing where that 8 moving average is. If we break 1330, I think there's a decent chance that it'll come to 1430. That's not too bad right there. And really, that's actually almost exactly the same break that we're looking for on NASDAQ, right? Get me over the 8. Hopefully I can get to the 20, maybe even the 100, right? That's exactly the same thing. Hopefully I can get to the 8, maybe even the 120 right there, right? So that's a pretty decent lineup right there. I would call 1280 a decent let's go to the 8. Oh man, I don't even know. Like, look, where I'm clicking, I swear I didn't know it, is basically where the bottom of Friday's candle was, right? I think going near and losing 1230 starts to be scary. And I think that wick down was a real quick example of what that scary could look like, right? So that's an important line. Normally when I make them golden, they're golden for a reason, right? So it's not as important as a moving average. I'm just a dude clicking, right? But hopefully this line can have some good power, and hopefully we can use it to get back up. Again, I'm just seeing a NASDAQ recovery, not a sustained hold and go, right? So I find it real hard to believe we're going to get over 1440. I really do, let alone all the way up there at 1540, right? So that's SOFI right there. And then let's look at KULR. All right. Where are we on KULR? Look, it could have arguably been a golden line, all right? This was the first horizontal doji moment right there, right? I drew the line basically based on that. It's 50% of that first candle that took us off, right? So, yeah, I know we're under the 100. I mean, yeah, we're basically riding the 8. To me, again, I don't brag about my lines, or I do always say these are better than my little clicks, right? But we're at the horizontal point right now. This is the first string of dojis, right? Obviously, it's not the first takeoff, but that right there is basically the 200 moving average. I know it's not exactly it, but that's what, we always go just a little bit lower than the line, right? And I'd probably, nonetheless, this is an important line. Hopefully we can bounce to 160-ish. My problem is there are better moving average channels that we've looked at, right? So I think look a little bit elsewhere, because again, I only think the recovery is a week. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But if the recovery is only a week, maybe you can do 1, 2, 3 and make your way as high as like 230. That would be a real big move. I think that's a little too aggressive. I think it's a little hard to get over. Look, even if we come to this 160 though, we're at $1.20, right? That's actually a really nice percentage right there. That's a little bit more than 20%. 150 is also actually about a 20%. So I guess I was just looking at the pennies and getting a little disappointed. But percent-wise, KULR is actually worth your eyes, and that's within that frame I'm looking at, right? We would... Oh, man. We're basically there. All right, I'll call it that. This can't go below 110. I'm clicking at 111-ish, right? This can't go below 110. If you lose 110 on KULR, it's 94 cents next. So, cool. Nice. Roast. R-O-S-T. Ross Superstores. Okay, interesting. So, I'm a big fan of looking at these kind of companies in a tough market. I mentioned, I don't even know what they look like, but the dollar stores as well. Dollar Tree was one. It didn't do that well. And then Dollar General was another one. This one is, oh, hey, keep Dollar General in your back pocket. Damn, I should have done something with this one. Oh, and this one actually kind of looks like the QMMM. Yo, DG is an interesting one. Keep DG in your back pocket if you're watching this. There's a decent chance that we're going to make a move right there, right? We're not even there yet. Where are we? Cool. That's a nice place. I could see this thing coming to 85, and then let's see if we can even break 86 right there. Nice. DG. So I like looking at Ross, actually. To me, Ross is in that bargain shopping, right? I think this is a really nice channel as well, and it lines up with the channel kind of recovery I'm looking for on NASDAQ, right? If we can get, let's just call it 139. So yeah, 139. If we can get into 139, I think there's a lot of room to take us all the way up to $1.45 right there. Not quite a big percentage. It's a little under 10. If we're basically adding $10, a little more actually, right? So maybe it's a 10% move. That's going to be a tough cluster. And hey, if I'm wrong and there's more recovery, right, then things will help it. I think the other thing to say is the Dow Jones. I didn't actually really look at the Dow Jones much, and Ross definitely matters about Dow Jones more. Dow Jones has a 3 moving average point as well. Right? That's give or take the exact same thing right there. It's not the same lines, but the same thing, right? So maybe if Dow Jones can kind of stay as the best and break its 3 lines, maybe Ross Superstores can do the same thing. You know what I mean? So I would look at Dow Jones a little bit more, obviously a little bit S&P 500 too, but yeah, I would ignore NASDAQ for sure. And then I think I'm just kind of looking for a 145. If Dow Jones does better, we would go from there. So cool. We're at 55 minutes. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Any more tickers? Anything else anyone wants to look at? All right. Cool. I think we're going to end it right here. I don't know what I'm going to do more long term, man. I've just been so busy, you know. My goal is either do this more, maybe I'll just do single videos for like 5 minutes instead of my long ones, because it takes me like 20 minutes to record it, then it takes me like another 25-30 minutes to like post it everywhere and like make YouTube happy and stuff, you know what I mean? So my 40-minute windows are quickly dwindling, to say the least, you know. Look at this though, I like go on rants and we're 55 minutes in, right? But oh, I love Oklo. Yo, I haven't looked at Oklo in a minute. I'm glad I did my little goodbye there, and we can throw in another one. Let's look at, if my wife knocks on the door, this is game over, obviously, right? What did Olo look like? Sometimes typos are good. No, let's ignore Olo. Oklo. I like Oklo. First off, I love the name Oklo. That's just a fun one to say right there. Look, I think there's been a lot of tickers that have echoed this, right? We're at a golden line. It's not a moving average, but it's a good line right there, right? Maybe if we can get into 2850, I think 2850 is decent. What are you? Yeah, you're way too low. Yeah, 2850, 2860, 2870, somewhere like that. Now look, that 8 moving average hopefully will come, but it actually might even just stay a little higher and closer to 30, right? So you got to see where that is. What's that to that? Look, waiting for just the 8 and going to the 50 is actually a decent move right there. I just don't know how hard it's going to come down. It's making it, I think I got to say wait for 30 and see if you can come up to 30, 35. If we can go from there, we'll see that. But even that's kind of coming down right there, right? Maybe there's like a 37 shot. But hey, that's not bad right there on a 26 stock, right? Even only going to 35 right there, right? So 30 to 35 is also not that bad. It's a little bit more than 10%, right? So I did like that one. I know I dig the nuclears. I just don't know if it has the same juice as it did before, no pun intended with the nuclear juice thing, but like I just don't know if they're talking about powering, you know, cloud things and powering quantum things as much as they were actually. I like this SMR channel right there. Get me, let's just use that right there. 17's a little high. 17 is our number. Get me into 17. I think there's a real good shot that it'll go to 20. It's not quite 20%. It's not, you know, but that's not too bad right there. Actually, I would wait for 17. Not too bad on the RSI. Look, it's really low, right? So going from 20 up to 50 makes a lot of sense too. And then we'll see what it does from right there, right? So, cool. we're 2 minutes away from an hour. The last thing I guessed was this was gonna go for an hour. But any other tickers? I don't even, like I said, I'm not wildly trading anymore. I am hoping to trade next week if we see the recovery. I've just been riding my little simple tickers. You know what I mean? Baba, yo, it was not that long ago. It was not that long ago, Baba. Baba to 140 in a few weeks is what I said at the end of January. Baba has been doing the job, man. It really, really has. And it just looked like it was ready to break all five and fly. And what did it do? It broke all five and flew, right? So I think this is very, very healthy too, right? You go from a low RSI to a really high RSI, you come right back down to a healthy 60. We're still holding the 8 and the 20, and it looks like this thing's ready to keep going up, right? So the volume's been a little bit missing, and I know a lot of people have been looking at overseas tickers and so many different places overseas, right? But yeah, a lot of people are a little annoyed with the slow U.S. Situation and looking elsewhere, right? So Baba did the job on the daily. When we look at the weekly too, you can see it. This is now trying to break the 200 moving average for the first time. I mean, since we lost it back here in 2021, right? Summer of 2021. So we've actually never broken it too. That's what I was trying to look for. We started above it and then lost it, right? So this is an interesting place to be for sure, right? So Baba's actually been doing well, and so far there's really no signs that say, it's tired, right? So cool. We're at the hour mark. I think we'll end it right there. Yo, I appreciate you all so much. I'm a little sad that I just can't do it as consistently, and I'm like behind on replies and stuff like that. But I will do what I can to show my love because man, I love this place so much. All right, share, subscribe. You know it helps with the algorithms. But just being here, thank you. Have a great one, everyone. Enjoy the end of the weekend. I'm done. How do I end it?